Sports Take, episode 94. The business side of sports is what we talk here. We are your unmuzzled sports talk. Coming to you every Tuesday night is 8:10 Eastern Time, wrapping you up, getting ready for the beginning of the 2022 NFL season. And what better way to start you guys out and get you through the grind that can be the preseason with talking about some hot takes. I, of course, am Ryan Roberts at Rise in Draft on Twitter. Joining me is the man, the myth, the legend at Mav_sports, Mr. David Turner, 18-year scouting vet across the CFL, Arena League, and of course the NFL. He has 3 straight Arena League championships also with the Arizona Rattlers in the player personnel side of the business. Mr. David Turner, as we are turning the page soon on preseason. I know we're only in week 2, but it should be going through this pretty quickly. Excited to do this Hot Take Tuesday, and as I start with every single episode for the last 94 episodes, how are you, my friends?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, first week Hall of Fame game and first week of preseason football are in the books. And I don't know if you saw some of my social media posts just yesterday. It was hilarious sitting around watching preseason football with my family up in the California area. They were like, "We're going to be terrible. This is this and that." And they're like all ready to like sell the season down the river. And I have to keep reminding them that the players that are playing, 90% of them aren't even going to be there on game day. Like, it's like, calm down, don't hit the panic button, wait till at least week 3, maybe a little bit more this week 2, but don't worry about it so early on in the season. Especially, some of the Giants fans were jumping on Giants a little bit about low production of offense. I'm like, that was probably the most productive offense we've seen out of the Giants in 4 seasons. Like, calm down. I was with Patricia this week and we were talking about it. And I was just like, man, you know what? I love the commitment to the run game that Joe showed there. And I was like, okay, here we go. We got some stuff going. And I said, Wink Martindale, the new DC at the Giants, he must have taken a nap because they blitzed a little bit, but everything was so vanilla for him. I'm like, that guy didn't show anything he's about to do in regular season. So I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm watching NFL Network. I'm watching ESPN. I'm checking out Twitter. I'm doing all this stuff because I am so excited about this season.
Yeah, man. And this is going to be a fun one, David. So for the people that aren't aware, if you go check out my Twitter at Rise and Draft, I popped in, wanted people to give me some college football hot takes, want to give some NFL hot takes. So we're going to be working through some of these hot takes and debunking, agreeing. We're going to kind of see a little bit of a buy or sell in some hot takes here tonight involving the wonderful game of football. Before we start, would you be a parent of a high school athlete trying to make it to the next level? If you answered yes, then why not secure coaching from an expert? Here at Maverick Sports Consulting, that guy right there, we work with high school athletes of all sports to create a strategy for the recruiting process. With limited scholarships that are given each and every year, having a pointed recruitment plan helps our clients secure their opportunity to play collegiate sports. We focus on your transcripts, your film, leadership, and more to set your goals and create pathways to get to them. Whether you're looking to attend an SEC school or Slippery Rock University, we can support your efforts to get to those in 2022. Contact us at Maverick Sports Consulting today. So, David, like I said, we're going to be debunking some hot takes. Before we do, I think we should mention this real quick before we get going into a lot of these great hot takes. And if you are live with us, whether you are on Twitter, whether you are on YouTube, whether you are on TikTok for some reason, I still don't know why we go live on TikTok, you can throw in your own hot take. It could be about an NFL team, NFL in general, player specific, college football specific, college team specific, whatever. Anything football related, please throw a hot take. I'm also in the recruiting sphere, so if you want to throw me a high school hot take, I guess I can answer that as well. So anything football related, please send us your way. But we're working through a lot of these. But exciting announcement. Next week, which will be the 23rd of this month, we will be having our first Mav Sports Take live fantasy draft. It's going to be redraft form, snake draft, 12 teams. In order to sign up, because we already have a few people that are signed up in this league, you need to go to right now on Apple Podcasts, go to Mav Sports Take, our podcast name, leave a review. In that review, say that you want to join the fantasy league and then drop your email address and we will sign you up. It is going to be a money league. First, second, and third place, we're going to get buyouts, and I will be able to provide that sign-up info to your email. Please go Mav Sports Take on Apple Podcasts. So, David,
Double D said she wants in. Double D said she wants in.
Tell her, Double D, go on to Apple Podcasts, Mav Sports Take, leave a review, leave your email. We'd love to have you a part of the league. We'd absolutely love it. So, David, we got some college football specific hot takes. We got NFL hot takes as well. I have, starting out here, at Real Tim Bailey. He has a two-parter, David, and this is going to be a fun one. Ready? So his first hot take is the Carolina Panthers, who we talked about a couple weeks ago as far as their outlook for the season. His hot take is that the Carolina Panthers are going to make the playoffs this year. That's where we're starting. So they're in a division, David.
Is he?
Uh-oh.
Is he in the business?
You're breaking up a little bit on my end. I didn't really hear what you said. Yeah, I can hear you now. Try again.
In the ganja business? Like
I don't know. Why don't you explain? Why do you think he's wrong? Why do you think he's wrong? Go at it, David. Give us some context.
Okay, it's not a strong division, so I can see where he might be saying in the division they'll be competitive. Like, I get that. It's not a strong division. But when you're going through this roster here, it's not a playoff-worthy roster when you look at the rest of the NFC. You know, the NFC, while not as strong as the AFC, especially the AFC West, right, is still going to be a competitive league. So when you look at the NFC, you really look at, Green Bay and Minnesota, to me, are going to be up there. You have Tampa Bay, and then you'll have the Rams and San Francisco and maybe the Cardinals. I see where you could say they're in the mix because it's a weak division. I'll tell you this, I think Carolina ranks third in the division. I think that's what I said when we went through the list last. We did all our breakdowns. You know, I just don't Carolina being able to make a wild card spot, and that if they do make a spot, with Christian McCaffrey being so injury prone, which he's been his almost entire career. While he's on the field, he's dynamic, but when he's not on the field, they struggle a lot. And the offense itself, to score points up. McCaffrey, I mean, DJ Moore's a good receiver, but what else do they really have? They don't have a stellar tight end. He's not stellar. You got Robbie Marshall, who we both like coming out of the draft, last year, 2021 draft. Again, I don't see a bunch of playmakers on the field here for the Carolina Panthers compete. Their defense is average at best right now. They don't have an elite pass rusher. They're not looking at they're going to be disruptive in the backfield. And their secondary, again, is average at best right now. I think this is a team next year, 2023, if they keep going up the ladder, will have a shot at the playoffs. But they're still trying to figure out what's happening in the quarterback realm. So for me, playoffs is way too lofty of a goal for these guys here.
Well, let's do this. You want to do a little game on this real quick? Because we can give a little more context, I think, other than your breakdown of the roster. Let us go division by division, and then there was 3 wild card spots, obviously, right? So we're trying to find 7 teams. Let's see where Carolina fits into this playoff picture. Let's do it real quick, okay? So let's start with the NFC East. NFC East, Dallas Cowboys, New York Giants, Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders. Who's your pick to come out of the NFC East?
As the top team?
Yep, just one team to come out. Let's just start with division winners.
Okay, I'll say Dallas is still going to win the division.
Okay, so we got Dallas. I would agree. I think it's Dallas or the Eagles. I'll take Dallas slightly in that one, despite me not really loving the roster anymore. It's getting a little bit older.
I'm of the same mindset. One of those wins, one of those is, yeah.
Okay. Let's go NFC West now. Okay, we got the Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams, San Francisco 49ers, Seattle Seahawks. Who's your division winner?
I say Rams. Rams are going to take the division again.
Yep. So I'll be a homer, and I will say the Rams as well. NFC North, Let's go Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings. I will say the Green Bay Packers. Do you agree or disagree?
I will say the Minnesota Vikings.
Really? That's interesting. Okay. All right, well, let's go NFC South then. NFC South, Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I will go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you agree or disagree?
Well,
okay, so the one division that we disagreed on was we disagreed on the NFC North. You said you thought the Minnesota Vikings. I picked the Green Bay Packers. So we have our 4 division winners. So can we say that you believe that a team out of the NFC North can come in as one of the wild cards? Is that safe to say?
yes.
Okay, so we'll just go with yours for a second. We'll say Minnesota Vikings eke out a division victory, but the Green Bay Packers make the wild card. So that's 5. We have 2 more playoff spots. What's another team that we have not named as a division winner that you would say is a potential playoff team this year?
Eagles.
You think the Eagles? Okay, so you think one of the second team in the NFC East has the potential to be that team?
Yes.
Okay. And then I would say NFC West. So if the Rams are winning, maybe the 49ers. Is that fair?
I would say Niners or Cardinals, yes.
Okay. So that would be our 7 teams there, 4 division winners, 3 at wild card teams. I guess the last question is Carolina in the mix after that. Do you think they would be the next team out, or do you think, for instance, there's another NFC West team that would maybe overtake them? I guess I'm just trying to sort out where would the Carolina Panthers be.
I think Carolina's falling. Okay, I think I see where you're going with this. So I think, like I said, in the West, you're going to have in the contention areas, Rams are going to be leading it. Niners and Cardinals are going to be looking for the wild card spot there. But I don't see Carolina being better than either of those teams right now. I don't see Carolina being – I think they're in the next tier of that. So they're like probably team 12 right now in the NFC, maybe team 12. So, I don't see them in those top 7. I think they're somewhere between 9 and 12 in there. 9 and 12 is where Carolina is going to fall for me right now in this season. That's also, we got to see what happens at this quarterback position. I just don't see the weapons around whoever wins at quarterback to be a playoff team. Okay, that's if Christian's healthy, they got a shot to crack into 8, maybe flirt with that 7. But if Christian's hurt, banged up at all in a 17-game season, which he's always really, I just don't see it them cracking that top 7. I think they're somewhere between 9 and 12 in the NFC right now.
That's fair. I think we would be somewhat on this similar wavelength there, David. So I think we both would agree that we're going to sell that take. Timothy Bailey did have another take in here, though. He went to college football side of things on the next one. He said the Oklahoma Sooners will win 11-plus games for the 8th year in a row as his hot take. So 8 straight years of 11-plus wins for the Oklahoma Sooners. You want to do a similar thing that we just did, David? You want to work through this schedule and just try to predict what the record will be ultimately?
Yeah, I was just doing that on my second screen. I was pulling up the second schedule.
All right, well, let's go through it real quick. You ready? So I'm going to name the game. You tell me what you think the outcome is, a win or a loss, okay? Let's do that and make it easy. So we will go first game, September 3rd, at home against UTEP. Win or loss?
Win.
Home against Kent State.
Win.
At Nebraska.
At Nebraska?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you got at? No, I got Oklahoma next.
We are in Oklahoma. We're talking about Oklahoma.
Oh, sorry, Nebraska. Win.
Home against Kansas State. Home against Kansas State. That's a tough game. I think that's a little bit of a tough game.
That's a tough game. That's a tougher game than people realize. Kansas State's they've been building a nice little program there. Um, gosh, I'm gonna have to give him an L on that one. I'm gonna have to give him an L.
I'm kind of in the same spot, man. I think Kansas State's a really sneaky team this year. If they could just get solid to above average quarterback play, I think they're going to be a sneaky team. Let's go next week at TCU.
I like TCU. I love the Horned Frogs. I love them, but I think Oklahoma's going to beat them this year.
I agree. First year under Coach Sonny Cumbie, taking over the TCU program from Gary Patterson. I am going to say Oklahoma wins that one as well. Next game. It's a game against Texas. Time is to be announced. What are we thinking of this one, David? This one is being played in Dallas.
Man, there's a lot going on here. If that running back for Texas is playing, Bijan Robinson, is it?
Yeah, he's a stud.
I got to give that. He's such a stud. And I haven't seen Oklahoma's defense play this year. Obviously, they returned some starters, but I just don't know what they're going to be. And if Bijan's playing, I got to give the nod to Texas because he's the closest thing to Reggie Bush and LaDainian Tomlinson style back, just complete, can pass catch, can run the ball. It's just it's really hard to bet against that kid.
Yeah. So you have
and their backup running back's good too.
Yeah, Roschon Johnson. He's a good player, man. He's a really good player. He actually has
two studs in Texas right now.
I don't want to take the NFS for a gospel, man, but they actually had a really high grade on the backup running back for Texas too. So yeah, it seems like the NFL likes him a good amount too. So we have it 4-2 right there. I think we mostly agree on that one. I think the Texas game can go either way, honestly, but I think worst case you're about 4-2. Best case you're 5-1.
Both these games both the K-State and the Texas game can go either way. It's going to be a one score type game. I'm not saying they're getting blown out of any of this. I'm just giving the nod to the other two teams at this point.
For sure. So let's go. Next week is at home against Kansas.
Oh, W.
At Iowa State.
That's with the new quarterback at Iowa State, and they don't have the running back. I'm gonna give it to Oklahoma because I don't know what Iowa State's gonna look like coming out of the game.
Yeah, and Iowa State always plays Oklahoma tight, but like you said, you're breaking on a new quarterback. Breece Hall is gone. You lost some defensive players. Mike Rose was a really good linebacker for them. They had Will McDonald coming back, but still, you lost a lot from an Iowa State team. So I agree that is a win for Oklahoma. Next game versus Baylor. Baylor at home.
I like Baylor. I'm gonna go with Baylor.
Really?
It's gonna upset some people here today. I understand that, but I like Baylor. I'm gonna go with Baylor on this one.
I would go win for Oklahoma there. I think Baylor is going to take a slight step back. Still going to be a good team overall because I like Dave Aranda, their head coach, but they have a lot of new faces in that room, especially defensively. At West Virginia next game, David, in Morgantown.
I think it's going to be Oklahoma there.
Yeah, I agree. Next game at home against Oklahoma State.
I'm going to give them the dub over Oklahoma State. I don't see Oklahoma State having a dominant team this year. Early people, we haven't seen anybody sign up or line up, so don't get us. But I don't see it this year.
Yeah. I think both Oklahoma State and Baylor are both teams that are going to take a slight step back. Still be good, but I just don't see them being 11+ win teams like they were last year. Texas Tech, David, at Texas Tech, last game of the season, of the regular season.
Oh, they got that win. They got that dub.
Yeah. All right, so according to my calculations, David Turner has them at 9-3, losses to Baylor, Texas, and Kansas State. But he admits that both two or three of those games could probably go a different way, right? So it's not like a yes, they're going 10-2. It's more like maybe 10. I mean, maybe 9-3, right? Like that's more like in that ballpark. I think that it's more 10-2, maybe 11-1. So, but I think I'm underselling the 11 wins here as well. So I think we're both kind of 11 wins might be tough, but also that's not counting if they make the Big 12 title game. That's not counting if they make a bowl game, all that good stuff. So it could get to 11, but regular season wise, it's probably going to be under 11. So we'll stay there on that one. Timothy, thank you so much for the question there, though. David, going to move on to another interesting one. This was at Icewater Olson, at JT Olson on Twitter. He said, are you ready for this one, David?
Yeah.
Mel Tucker, who is the head coach of the Michigan State Spartans, his hot take is that Mel Tucker is the third best college coach in the state of Michigan.
What?
Yep, that was his take.
You found all the ganja growers asking questions tonight. Mel Tucker is a great football coach, and y'all are wrong. If you think Jim Harbaugh is a better football coach than Mel Tucker, like I don't know who else you got in there besides.
I guess it'd be Central Michigan, Western Michigan. Who is Central Michigan's head coach? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look this up.
Dude, I have no idea, but you know what Mel Tucker and that recruiting staff, obviously we have deep ties to there, have been doing to program around. I mean, it's impressive. You know, while they lost games last year, it wasn't like they had stellar talent all over the place. You got a place like Michigan that has a bunch of talent and they barely get by, you know, and it's coaching. I like what Mel, like what I'm out of that. I like what they got building there. They, you know, challenging for a national championship. That's not the case right now, but man, they're setting some good groundwork there. If you got to really if you don't like their roster, you really got to digest it because they're setting some really good groundwork. What they got.
So slight disagreement. I would take Jim Harbaugh over Mel Tucker. I need to see more of Mel Tucker as a head coach first. Just need to see a little more. So we'll disagree slightly. But I think
I'm used.
I think regardless,
not in coaching. That's something we're used to here on the show.
Yeah, exactly. So regardless of that, David, though, where's the second coach in this conversation for JT that I'm trying to find? So here is what I found. So the head coach of Central Michigan is Jim McElwain. And
I love Jimmy. You know that. Jimmy and I were on staff together. Yeah. Loved him.
Right.
I love him to death. But Mel Tucker is a really good football coach.
Right. And yeah, so I mean, I'm throwing that McElwain thing out. And then Western Michigan's head coach is Tim Lester, who I don't think that's I think JT is trying to say that Jim McElwain is better than Mel Tucker. I think that's what he's trying to say. Because Tim Lester is 30.
Again, I know Jim.
Tim Lester is 32-25 as a head coach at Western Michigan. So like, yeah. Oh, David, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. All right, as David fixes those technical difficulties here, I'm also looking up that Eastern Michigan's coach is Chris Creighton, who I also don't think is in the same league as Mel Tucker either. Hi. So I think that's. Hi, David. Can you hear me good now? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, perfect. What were you saying before your mic went out?
I was just saying, you know, Jim McElwain taught me a lot about quarterback play when we were at the Raiders together. We didn't have much of Marcus. We had him before that, and he taught me a lot of good stuff about it. And I think he's an excellent coach. I think, you know, people are lucky to be coached by him because he's such a good teacher and everything. But I'm not as high on Harbaugh as I am on the other two, to be honest with you.
Whoa, so you would say Jim Harbaugh is number 3 in the state of Michigan? Is that your take?
I'm saying if McElwain, Michigan is a much better football team.
Wow, that's a take, man. I don't think I can get behind that, but that is a spicy take, David. We talked about hot takes tonight. That's a hot take, sir. I respect it.
And I'll be honest with you, like Harbaugh might be one heck of a recruiter with his energy and everything like that, but Jim McElwain is a hell of a teacher. Like one hell of a teacher, and he gets the most best players in a lot of ways.
Man, that's a hot take. I might have to clip that one, man, and put that on the Twitterverse. They might have a good time with that. Next
Oh, I'm
take.
sure they would.
You ready? Oh yeah, they would. You ready for the next one?
Yeah.
We got Josh _ ND85. David, this is a Notre Dame fan, so please be nice, okay? Be nice. His take. Notre Dame beats Ohio State in the shoe and beats them again worse in the playoffs.
With what speed?
Oh, Notre Dame has speed. Don't do that to me. Don't do that. That's such a false statement. It's such a false statement. Notre Dame has speed. Do not do that, David.
Oh God, I had to do it. Do it to him, y'all. You should have. If you're not watching the video on that, you had to see his face. His jaw dropped. Like, are you kidding me?
You know better, sir.
I
you know
love
better.
their head coach. Let's be honest. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame. I love the head coach. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a good team this year. My heart always gets broken by Notre Dame year. You know what I mean? But man, I am rooting for him. I don't know Notre Dame as well as Ryan. Obviously, Ryan knows Notre Dame inside and out, and I don't know if this sophomore quarterback is going to be the guy that's going to beat Ohio State. Ohio State is stacked in a lot of ways. I really think that they have a very good team this year. I'm not a Ohio State. If you guys listen and watch the podcast for the 100 episodes or whatever we've done, Ryan, almost, people will know I bash on Ohio State a lot because I'm not a big Ohio State fan. But the reality is they have a really good team this year. And I think that running back at Ohio State, on top of the receivers they have there, and that quarterback, they're really lethal. They are really lethal this year. I mean, C.J. Stroud with Marvin Harrison Jr., Smith Naja, which I probably just butchered his name.
Smith and Jigba. Jigba.
And then Trey. Thank you. And then Tron Henderson. I mean, they are stacked, and even their tight end Stover is a player. So again, that offense is really good. It would have to track meet for him to win, and I just don't know if Notre Dame this year has the track athletes to run up and down the field with Ohio State. I just don't know. That's something you got to answer.
Well, I'm not going to answer it because we talk about it almost every day on the podcast. But I'm going to come off as a biased party. So I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to let the actions of Notre Dame speak for me on September 3rd in the Horseshoe, David. So it is a cop-out, but it's okay. I'm allowed to do a cop-out every once in a while, okay? There's bias here, and I'm gonna steer away from the bias right now.
That's fine. Like I said, I think Ohio State's got a really good team. I'm putting it out there early, and I'll probably put it out there often all year. And again, I'm not an Ohio State fan, but this team that I see from Ohio State, they got a really big shot at doing some good things this year.
I mean, offensively, they're going to be stellar. You can sell me on that. I just need to see defensively what they're able to do. They were not great last year. Hopefully, they're a better team this year defensively. Next one, David. We're going to go at this league 23. Josh on Twitter. He has an NFL take and he has a college football take. Which one would you like to start with? I'll give you the option.
Let's do the NFL. We just did a couple colleges in a row. Let's do NFL.
All right. So his NFL take is, I don't think it's that hot. I'll be very honest. He has the Baltimore Ravens will win their division.
Oh, man. No. Here's the thing. If Deshaun Watson is able to play for Cleveland, and I think Cincinnati wins that division again, okay? And if Deshaun Watson's able to play for Cleveland, I think Cleveland might take number 2 spot.
So you don't think the Ravens are going to finish in the top 2?
If Deshaun doesn't play for Cleveland, absolutely they do. Absolutely. Because Cleveland's a really good team, but they don't have a quarterback. And, if Deshaun's not there playing quarterback, they're leaning on, the backups they got right now. I just don't see that being, was it Brissett? I don't see Brissett being the guy to lead this team to the playoffs or the second position. Lamar Jackson's dynamic. I think, I love Matthews or the tight end. If the running backs stay healthy, they got a shot. But he just doesn't have a lot of weapons on the outside, and the receivers are just okay. They're not stellar. So, again, they got a chance, but it's going to be on Lamar's legs a lot again, and that's a lot to ask of a young man. So we'll see. I don't know what the defense is going to look like this year. Wink's not there, so I'm not really sure what it's going to look like. So again, from the position right now, I see Cincinnati repeating. They did a lot of good things in the offseason, and I see taking the 2 if Deshaun plays. If he doesn't, then I see Baltimore taking the 2 spot. The ones that are really out of it for me right now is Pittsburgh, because I just don't believe in their quarterback situation at all this year. Now, if Pittsburgh were to trade for Jimmy G, that would change, because Jimmy G on that team with Jay and what they with the receivers and stuff there, now they got a real quarterback for a year. That would be fun to watch.
I am also not feeling great about the Steelers, so I'm going to go with this take, actually, though. I'm going to buy this one a little bit. I think there's a caveat. If the Ravens stay healthy, I think that they'd win the division. But if they have the string of injuries like they had last year, then there's no chance. But I think that they have a bit bounce back year after going, whether they 8-9 last year. Like, I think they're going to be a pretty good football team. So I think it's going to be a competitive.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a rough
injuries were awful, man. Injuries were absolutely terrible for the team last year. So I'm going to pick them to have a bounce back year dependent upon injuries. If they stay healthy, I think they have a decent shot. Josh's college football take, David, he said neither Ohio State or Bama will be in the championship game this year.
That's false. I mean, you tell me who else is going to be in the championship game. One of those 2 teams is definitely going to be in the championship game. I think both those quarterbacks, the Alabama quarterback and the Ohio State quarterbacks, are really, really good quarterbacks. And in college football, as long as you have the quarterbacks, you got some stallions. And that defense at Alabama, I mean, remember last year's Georgia defense had so many players coming. This year, the Crimson Tide, that's a freaking stellar defense. And there's not a lot of people that are going to get ball now, like, pressure defense up front. Some great rush. So, I don't know if I can't that. I can't take that at all. I mean, think about this with Anderson and Young and Igbigbo, Justin Igbigbo up front. I mean, and then they got that back end with Branch, Jackson. I mean, gee, it's going to be hard to throw against this team, man. Alabama's defense is pretty stacked. And they got Bryce Young at quarterback, and they got they transferred in Gibbs and Burton and Harrell. I mean, they got some studs on offense too. I don't know, man. I think it's going to be a hard one to beat. Alabama's a hard team to beat this year. They reloaded really well.
Yeah, if this take was one of Ohio State or Bama will not make the championship game, then I would take it, right? Because you're talking about 2 teams at the end. So I would be like, yeah, that's a reasonable take. But having both of those teams not make it, I think that makes it I'm a little less confident in that one. So I would also sell that take. David, we're going to go to at Blase 253, Misunderstooder 94 on Twitter, who had a take that said the Utah Utes will be in the college football playoffs this season.
The Utes. We all love the Utes. The Utes are one of a great coaching staff. Great, I think they do a phenomenal job. Very appreciated what they bring to college football at the Utes because it's Utah. But making the college playoffs this year, whoo, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big take to say they're going to. There are some good college teams this year. I think I'm super excited to see NFL football this year. As you and I have talked about, some great teams and some combative in certain divisions. But college this year, I'm excited to see a lot of different teams play. Utes making the playoffs. Ooh, man. I am looking at their roster right now in the schedule.
It's a good roster.
Their schedule is not tough. It's a good roster. Right. I don't know they make the playoffs, but they do have a good roster. Like, they got a good roster here. Yeah. It's borderline. I'm struggling. I got to sell it. But, man, I'm selling it with a prejudice because they could sneak in, but I'm selling it with a, I can't buy that with what I got going here. But, man, they're going to be fun to watch. They're going to be fun to watch.
You can sell me on 10-plus wins again. You can sell me on Pac-12 champs. I am also going to sell, though, that they are college football playoff bound. I would sell that one. I would. David, next one, right? We got so many good ones. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to hit an ad read real quick. Have you secured any scholarships with name, image, and likeness yet? No. Well, what's keeping you from both earning money or gaining products today? Probably the access to the companies. Maverick Sports Consulting can connect those dots for you. We believe in the power of athletes making a living off of their own image and likeness and while going to college. If it's simply that you don't have access to companies, don't let that keep you from being successful. Contact us at Maverick Sports Consulting, or we can help you navigate your pathway to gaining corporate sponsorships for your collegiate career. And athletes' earning potential is limited. Why wait until tomorrow when you can start earning today? It doesn't matter what sport you play. We help all our clients achieve their goals. Just contact us at Maverick Sports Consulting. TikTok, the clock is ticking. All right, David, had another one. Ready? This one is super spicy. Shout out to Jeff at Jeff_Spalding9 on Twitter, who said, David, Dallas Turner is going to lead the Alabama Crimson Tide in sacks this year, not Will Anderson.
False.
False. No, you're not even going to consider it? You're not even going to consider it? You're not even going to consider it?
You know what? I'll say both of them is what makes this defense so tough. Like, there's so many, like I just said, the Alabama defense has got a lot of ballers on it this year. I know Georgia was stacked last year. Will Alabama have as many draft picks off this defense as Georgia did last year? Probably not. But this defense is going to be well coached, disciplined, and ready to get after it. And with Turner and Anderson and stuff together, it's going to be sick. It is absolutely going to be sick. I just think Anderson is a notch above, and I think I think last year he really showed some stuff. And this year, seeing how the pass rushers went in the draft this year, I mean, look at 3 of the top 5 picks were pass rushers, right? So it's like you got to look at it and be like, man, if I go out and have that kind of year, I'm going to be making a whole lot of money. So, for me, I think Anderson's just going to be coming off the edge like a beast all year long.
So here's some stats for you. Will Anderson's coming off of a sophomore year where he had 101 total tackles, 31 tackles for loss, and 17 and a half sacks. Led college football in sacks last year. Dallas Turner, as a true freshman, had 8.5 sacks, which is actually more than what Will Anderson had as a freshman. He only had 7. So I think Dallas Turner is a fantastic football player. But to your point, David, we're talking about a kid, Will Anderson, that could contend for the number 1 overall pick next year. Like, he's that type of dude, right? So
yeah,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think it would actually be closer because I think it's going to be hard for Will Anderson to replicate 17 and a half again. So we might see more like 12-ish, but still have a high impact. And maybe Dallas Turner gets like 9 or 10. So it's a little closer together. But I agree with you. I think Will Anderson is ultimately going to have the higher number of sacks. I agree. Let's go.
Yeah.
Another Notre Dame take, David. Be nice to my Notre Dame followers. We have at ND_Irish09 who said Notre Dame and wait, what's it say? Forget it. We're gonna skip this one. No, we're gonna skip this one. This one was a inside joke for the website. Forget about this one. We're gonna go instead to ND_Henning and fan. I don't know how to pronounce this. The take, David. Are you ready for this one? Are you ready? It's a great take. Michigan is dumb.
Wow. We just read that on air. Wow.
Yes, we did. Okay. Because I agree.
Wow.
I don't think it's a hot take at all. Michigan is dumb. Fantastic. I agree.
Why? Yeah, I mean, this is a hot take Tuesday, and we're talking about Michigan and the reality of it.
Right. Well, let's go to a different one, okay? We're going to go, not a Notre Dame take. We're going to go at _Rye McCluskey. He said, David, Braylon Allen, who is the running back out of Wisconsin, he says that Braylon Allen is the Heisman contender, outperforms both Travion Henderson and Bijan Robinson this year. So he thinks Braylon Allen is going to be the best running back in college football, most productive one.
It's not unheard of that Wisconsin has the most productive, rack in college football because they run the ball and they run 9-man front or, blocking schemes and stuff up front. So that's not unheard of as far as that. But as the most impactful players, well, that wasn't the question. The question was Heisman.
Yep.
I say I'm not taking it because the other two kids, as I just gushed over both of them earlier, those two kids are just so special. I don't see that he would beat both of them out for the Heisman. Will he be more productive? Will his numbers maybe be better as far as running the ball? I'll say yes. That's a possibility. Beating them out for the Heisman with their dynamic ability to catch balls out of the backfield and do everything that they do, especially Robinson in Texas, I don't know about that. Like that kid is, if he stays healthy and they manage him a little bit in the beginning of the season, like the first two games, manage him, use a backup running back, do some stuff, and then take the chains off and let him go running. I mean, that's a dog that can hunt all day long. Like I said, he's the closest thing to Reggie Bush and LT that I've seen in a long time.
I'll say this. I can buy half this take that potentially Braylon Allen outproduces both of those players because I think that we know that Wisconsin traditionally runs the football at a high rate and people are going to have the bullseye on Bijan Robinson's back. Like they're going to know that that's the guy they need to stop. So if you told me Braylon Allen outproduces both those players, I would say I could get there. I can get there with that take. The Heisman other side of this conversation is the one that I'm going to push back on because we know, and it shouldn't necessarily be this way, but we know that team success does have a volume into the conversation, right? So in that regard, I don't think Wisconsin's going to be a great football team this year. I think they're going to be a good, solid team, and Braylon Allen's a star. So I will also sell the take. David, do you mind if I read off? Excuse me. Do you mind if I read off some of Braylon Allen's fantastic stats last year, real quick?
Oh no, go for it. He's a fantastic player. I just think he's in a class with these other ones that are really fantastic as well.
So he was young for his grade. So he was only a 17-year-old freshman last year, David. So in the first 3 games of the season, he only ran the ball 12 times total in the first 3 games. After that, he proceeded to run for 131 yards against Illinois and only 18 carries. 16 carries for 108 against Army. 12 carries for $140 against Purdue and 2 touchdowns. 20 carries for 104 yards against a very good Iowa run defense. 129 yards on 15 carries and a touchdown against Rutgers. He had 173 yards and 3 touchdowns against Northwestern, 228 yards and 3 touchdowns against Nebraska the following week, in which he averaged 10.4 yards a carry. Had a slightly down game against Minnesota, only 47 yards, and he ended the season with 159 yards against Arizona State. So he, in a string of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, David, the last 9 weeks where he was a full-time ball carrier, he had 800-yard games in the last 9 weeks, which is very, very impressive. So very good football player. Very good. I'm excited to see him.
Like you said, he's going to be 18. He's going to be a true sophomore. So he's got at least one more year to go. And I think, coming out, going into that junior year of his, he'll be the number one back probably in the country going into it. And, Bijan and the kid from Ohio State will probably come out after this season. And then it's going to be wide open for him to just dominate college football in the next year.
You know who Braylon Allen reminds me of, David? I'm about to hit you with a comp. He gives me Corey Dillon vibes. I don't know if you were a big Corey Dillon guy, but that's who I see.
You have to love Corey Dillon. The way he
Dillon was a baller, man. Angry. He was a baller.
Angry runner.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Dude, he was one of those dudes. Like, I guarantee that Corey Dillon watched some highlights of Earl Campbell growing up. Like, he ran like that. You know what I mean? Like, he was a violent runner for sure. Let's go to.
Yeah, Corey Dillon got behind his pads and challenged people all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. All right, David, let's go to. We'll skip a couple of these Notre Dame centric ones. We have at Kako Roos, the Rooster on Twitter. He said Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, will slaughter West Virginia this year in that big rivalry game. And there's a second part to this. George Pickens, the rookie wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers, is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. So we've been doing a lot of college football takes, David. Let's start with the second part of that. George Pickens will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Your thoughts on that one?
No, I like Pickens a lot. And people who watch me know I like Pickens a lot. But he's not going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. Not that this is I think there's too many receivers that are good, like Garrett Wilson and Olave and Jameson and all. There's just so many good ones here. I don't. Pickens winds up being the one that gets Offensive Rookie of the Year. It's just not what I don't think the quarterback play in Pittsburgh at the Steelers will give them enough. That's the other part. They put Jimmy Garoppolo there. Maybe I might hesitate a little bit more, but I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers have the quarterback play this year to get him where he wants to be. And also, I just don't see that offense giving him enough opportunity with the way they run their offense there for him to get it. Okay. So those are why I'm pumping the brakes on that one. I'm selling it. But as far as Pittsburgh beating up on West Virginia for the title or to win that rivalry, again, we know I like Pittsburgh, but they have a transfer senior quarterback coming in. They don't have I don't think they have a stellar roster. I think they have a very, very good Pittsburgh roster. They're going to play hard. They're going to be strong. They're going to do things, but this isn't a Pitt roster when I look at it that's going to just go out and dominate teams. So I don't know. I think West Virginia actually wins that game.
Interesting. So, David, for the first part of that take, I am also selling George Pickens. I do think George Pickens has a chance to be the best receiver on Pittsburgh in a couple of years, but right now I don't see Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's also playing with a guy like Deontay Johnson, who's going to get a lot of volume in that offense, right? So I'm gonna go away from that one. And they have Najee Harris, who they're going to feed. Yeah,
exactly. Yep, between the running back, Freiermuth, Johnson, and the way they call offense, he's just not going to get the opportunity.
I will push back, though. I actually agree with the Pittsburgh take. I don't think West Virginia is actually going to be that good this year, and I think Pittsburgh's actually going to be pretty good, man. Like, offensively, they have some guys they need to figure it out with Keaton Sullivan at quarterback, but they got a good defense coming back, man. I think that they're going to be a tough defense on that side of the ball. So I actually will take them in that West Virginia game.
Well, we'll go halvesies on that because I think West Virginia is gonna have with Deontay Stills up front, Jefferson and Alston, Jared Barrett at the Bandit. I think they're gonna have some fun up front with this defense here at West Virginia. I think their back end's pretty good too. I like their safety with Burks and the other safety that they have. Was it Floyd that plays more of a cover safety for him? I think it's going to be fun to watch this defense fly around. It'll be a good game, and we'll put a bet on it when it comes around. You and I will put a bet on it. You get Pitt, and I'll take West Virginia that week.
Let's do it, man. I love it. We're going to move on, David. This one has a half Notre Dame take and a half non-Notre Dame take. We'll buzz through the Notre Dame take very quick because we talked a lot about this already. It says, from Excalibur 7160, Notre Dame will go undefeated and be in the college football playoff. Obviously, you disagree because you don't think they're going to beat Ohio State, so we'll move past that one pretty quick. The New York Jets, his second take, will threaten to make the playoffs this year. He has the Jets potentially making the playoffs.
The New York Jets will threaten to have the first overall pick this year.
Oh, they're not going to be that bad, man. They're not going to be that bad.
Hey, now their quarterback just got hurt. We don't know what this offensive line is going to end up looking like. So for me, I don't see it. I don't see a playoff team, especially with the way the AFC West is lined up. The Buffalo Bills being in there, Miami's going to be better. New England's still going to be consistent. I think the Jets are at the bottom of that ranking in that division. And also, you go to the AFC South. I mean, Indianapolis and Tennessee, you got the 4 teams out west. That's 6 right there. Let's just say Buffalo wins and the NFC East, that's 7. And then someone's got to win the North, that's 8. I mean, I think the Jets are somewhere around, dude, they're low, man. They're not in my – I mean, they're at the bottom of my AFC right now. The AFC is so competitive. I don't think the Jets are better than the Dolphins. I don't think the Jets are better than – I think they're better than Jacksonville and better than Houston. I don't think they're better than anybody else, though. I think they might be third from the bottom as I'm looking down the rosters here. I think the Jets might be third from the bottom, in my opinion, in the AFC. And it's a tribute to the AFC being so competitive. Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to crap all over the Jets, even though I like doing it. I love Joe Douglas, so you know that. We talk very favorably about Joe Douglas and Rex Hogan. They're friends of mine. I'm not trying to crap on them. I like them a lot. I just don't think the roster is where some of these other rosters are in the AFC. The AFC did a really good job this offseason, especially getting, Russell Wilson to Denver. You got Kansas City's locked and loaded. Vegas went and got Adams. Chargers are coming back healthy. Cincinnati got 3 offensive linemen in free agency to help sew up their offensive line. Cleveland went and got Deshaun Watson if he gets to play. So that's what I'm saying. Is like AFC has just got very competitive. Obviously we saw what Miami went and did and got Tyreek Hill to help with them out and do things there. So it's just hard to put the Jets in the playoffs with what everybody else did.
That's fair. I'll say this. I definitely don't think the Jets are a playoff team. I think for me, what the Jets want to accomplish this year is they want to have progress in year 2 under Saleh. So I'm thinking 7-10, 8-9, somewhere in that ballpark. I think that could be construed as a successful season for this year for the Jets.
I'm right. If they go 8-9 and those 3 draft picks they got in the first round pan out, like do well, which we both think they will. You and I are very excited about those draft picks. I think they have a solid core of young play build on. Another successful offseason next year, and this could be a playoff team next year. I mean, don't get me wrong, we got to narrow up on this roster and on this team. It's just not there this year.
Yeah. So we had 2 more takes left, David. We're doing great on time. Great takes tonight, by the way. Some really hot ones, some ones that, we kind of agreed with for the most part. Here's one that does have to do with Notre Dame. This is actually from a non-Notre Dame fan, though, David. He says it's from @25_TH3_Sage. He said, I would say Notre Dame is going to get blown out week 1 by the Buckeyes, but everyone already knows that, David.
I don't think they're getting blown out by the Buckeyes, as we just talked about. I think the Buckeyes have a heck of a roster. And it's gonna be but Antonio Freeman's gonna have that team ready to go now. Like he's gonna have them Irish ready to rock and roll. So, I don't think it's a blowout. But again, I can't sit here and say that they're gonna win and beat Ohio State. Like Ohio State's gonna win that game. And I'm a
I think
Notre
it's gonna
Dame
be
fan. Like I grew up a Notre Dame fan. I just look at Ohio State's roster, especially on offense, and I really respect this quarterback that they got there. I think he's a really good quarterback, and I love the running back a lot. Those receivers, like we just went through this. I just think Ohio State wins that game.
And that's fair. And I've been telling everybody, I think it's going to be a competitive football game. I think the 15.5 points that Ohio State is favored by is ridiculous. I'm not saying Notre Dame's going to win the game. I just think it's going to be a competitive football game. And then we'll see. If it gets competitive going to the fourth quarter, game can go either way. That's what I think about it. So we'll see. Last take of the night, David. Are you ready for this one? This might be the hottest take of the night. Are you ready?
I've been waiting for it.
From Daniel Krieger 86. He said his hot take: in week 2 of the college football season, Texas will beat Alabama.
False. No way Nick Saban is losing that game. There's no way Nick Saban is losing. You know how many former assistants he has out there? He has a lot of them. I think the only one he's lost to is Jimbo Fisher. So I'm not gonna give. I like Sark as a person.
He lost to Kirby Smart last year. He lost to Kirby Smart last year.
Okay, so he's lost with 2 of all the assistants he's got out there. And again, Sark's been through the demons and he's seen it all. And I respect Sark. I really I commend him for what he's done for his life, for his family, for everything. I think he's on a similar path there, and a good path, I should say, at Texas. He's got a chance to really turn it around down there. And Bijan Robinson's a stud, right? But Alabama's defense, Texas's offensive line, I don't know about that. That defensive front 7 for Alabama, like I just said, and I've been saying the whole show, is something fierce now. And I don't think Texas has got the line to block them up. I just don't.
Well, I think this too. Texas has a lot of new faces, obviously breaking in a new quarterback and doing all that type of stuff. A lot of transfers, a lot of young offensive linemen. If this game was like week 10, week 11, I would give Texas more of a chance. But I think since it's week 2, I don't want to say a bloodbath, but I don't think it's going to be pretty at the end of the game. So we'll just leave it at that. But great takes tonight, folks. Really appreciate everyone for submitting it. Want to say before I give David Turner the final word of the night as we wrap up this great hour of sports talk, if you could please like, share, subscribe to this podcast. If you want to go again, we're doing a live fantasy draft next Tuesday, same time. If you want to sign up for the league, all you have to do is go to Apple Podcasts, write us a review, say you want to join the league in the review, and then put your email address, and we'll get you signed up for that 12-team redraft fantasy league. It will be a paid league as well. So there will be money given to first, second, and third place finishers. More details coming on that guy, though. Want to thank everybody again for dropping in the takes. We're only a couple weeks away from college football. I think it's 18 days, if I remember correctly. So 17 days and one wake up. We'll be diving into college football. NFL only a few weeks away as well. David Turner, I had a lot of fun with this show, my friends. Going to drop it to you for the final word of the night on Mavs Sports Take, episode 94.
Hey, don't sleep on next week. The live draft show for your fantasy football is coming live and hot and coming in hard with you. We're going to have some rookies on our teams. We're going to bring it to the next level here. Don't worry and don't sleep on it. You want to win some money, you want to go after it, you want to win your fantasy football league, whatever it is. You tune in next week, you watch how we draft, watch me kick Ryan's ass in the draft and kick it all year long, because that's the way it's going to happen. I'm going to take this league by storm. You're going to be surprised by some of my picks, but when they pan out by the end of the year, you're going to be like, oh, he was right. I got it. I'm already working on my rosters, and I'm already got them lined up. So, Ryan, you can see how worried he is over there. He's shaking in his boots.
Yes. I'm so scared of David in fantasy football. David has zero chance of beating me in fantasy football. Zero chance.
Watch him cry, ladies and gentlemen.
But we will see you next week, folks. Thank you all again for joining us here. Mav Sports Take, episode 94. Little Hot Take Tuesday for everyone. Hope everyone has a great week. We will see you next Tuesday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, for the first inaugural Mav Sports Take Fantasy Draft.